Welcome back to Community Storytelling on KCAT TV 15. I'm Lissa Chrysler. We've been together for 7 seasons now, so thank you to our sponsors, Linda Lester, Lester Square. And this year we have this fabulous anonymous donor who's also sponsoring us, so that's great. I have such a special man for you to meet. You may already know him because he's around town a lot, or maybe you even go to his hangout. But yes, the Reverend Ricardo Avila of St. Luke's Episcopal Church. And don't tell me you haven't walked by that church on University Avenue a million times and said, wow, this is a gorgeous place. Well, I finally got to go inside for the wrong reasons. It was the memorial service for Jack Lucas. Right. Such a sad but beautiful celebration of his life. And that's how I met you.
That's right, yeah.
You are fabulous. Can I call you Father? Is that okay?
You can call me Ricardo. You can call me Father Ricardo. That's what they say to my face at the church. Anyway.
And I saw you eyeing these pictures behind me.
Are those Glenn Nakazawa drawings, paintings?
No way.
Glenn Nakazawa?
Yes. Los Gatos resident, Los Gatos dad. He took these paintings, pictures, and then turned them into these for us. And aren't they gorgeous?
They're great. I'd love to see one of St. Luke's done sometime.
A good idea.
Hint,
but that's
hint.
That's for another show.
We
want to talk about you today.
Thank you.
You are an amazing man. When I sat in the church, listening to you talk about Jack and your sermon and everything that you put into a celebration of life, I said, this man is fabulous. And I'm Jewish, and I felt so comfortable sitting in there. What's your secret?
Well, my secret is that obviously, it makes sense when people come to a church for a wedding or a memorial service, they're not necessarily members of that church. And the point is that you're coming to this place because you love someone or loved someone who's gone. And so you want to, you want to make people feel at ease. Some people come with baggage. Church was not so good to them. Some people come from other faith traditions. So I just think it's important to remind people that you're there for love, because you loved someone, and that I think is what the divine is all about, right? It's about relationship, it's about caring, it's about things mattering to you. So,
well, you put that message across very well.
Good.
And you're so animated. How did that thing get going? Because I know you went to college and you majored in English literature.
Right.
And here you are. Was this always your plan, or were you going to be a writer or a professor?
This was never my plan. It's still not my plan.
Well, but it's too late for that.
Yeah, it's a little late. No. I wandered kind of clerical jobs for 18 years after graduating, just not knowing what was going on. And I went from being Roman Catholic to being Episcopalian, long story, but I was going to a church, and the priest there just came one day and said, you have a calling to the priesthood. I've been waiting for you for a year to come and tell me. Tired of waiting. You need to be a priest. I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And then lo and behold, God yanked me in, kicking and screaming, which happens. But the funny thing is I'm suited to it.
You most certainly are.
I'm a ham,
Yes.
And I love people, and I care about community and relationships.
So obvious.
So, yeah.
So obvious. How'd you end up in Los Gatos, though?
Well, in the Episcopal Church, you apply for jobs for priests, it's called being the rector of a parish, right? So it's just like applying for any job. And I was actually down at a church in Long Beach, though I don't know how far back to go here. I'm from the Midwest.
Well, wait, how old are you? Maybe we should set a deadline. Let's go back 20 years.
Okay, so I moved to San Francisco in December of '93. So I lived there for 18 years.
And were you already in this role?
No. I was ordained in 2010 at Grace Cathedral in San Francisco.
Oh, my.
And then I just bopped around different jobs. So prior to Los Gatos, I was down in Long Beach. And I knew I wanted to move back here because my husband was still living here. He teaches high school, and he had a great job. So we were kind of separated for about 4 years there. And
sometimes that makes the relationship even better.
Kind of has. And so this job was open. I'd never heard of Los Gatos, really honestly. And I came, and it just worked out. We just kind of meshed. They needed, what did they say? We need someone to shepherd us into new life. And they liked my energy, and I'm kind of wacky. I'm not I don't fit the mold, right,
I
of a
get it.
priest. And
I get it.
but they saw something.
Now, explain to everybody, because I'm not even sure I get it. You're Episcopalian.
Yeah.
Is that Anglo-Catholic? Because you're allowed to be married. You are married. So there is a difference
Right.
between the Catholicism
Catholic,
priesthood and you. So what is that?
All right. So you want a short little
short
answer?
version.
Okay. Jesus,
Oh, no.
church,
Yeah.
schisms left and right. Henry VIII in England, Anglican Church, goes to America, Revolutionary War. We don't want to call ourselves Church of England. Long story. Episcopal Church. So we're under the umbrella of the Anglican Church. We're the Episcopal Church. We broke with Rome during Henry VIII's time, so we don't have to listen to the Pope, and we don't have our own version of the Pope, so we
Got
have
it.
some autonomy.
Got it.
Lots, if you walked into either, there'd be a lot of similarities.
Sure.
And just the last thing, within the Episcopal Church, there's a spectrum of style of worship. So Anglo-Catholic is like incense, bells, genuflect, Virgin Mary, the whole 9 yards. And then there's something called Low Church, which is super informal.
Got it. And that's St. Luke's.
No, we're
You're
closer
a
to
little-
the
Are
Anglo-Catholic.
you? Well,
Memorial services, we don't want to freak people out with
all right.
incense.
Okay.
you know?
Because I was going to say it seemed very informal to me.
Yeah.
And your grounds are beautiful. And I would think, because I kind of was walking around, looking around, that anybody is welcome to walk your grounds.
Oh yeah, the whole courtyard area.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's open 24/7. I sort of wish more people would take advantage of that because it's a nice respite from kind of walking around downtown, and it's quiet, a few benches.
Yes.
Eat your lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's right next to Old Town. If you're not familiar, saying, where is it? I know I've seen it. Yes, right next to Old Town, which is one of our pictures. Yes.
That's right.
So how many members do you have?
I would say it's kind of a hard question to answer. I would say regularly we get about 100 to 110 people over 3 services on a Sunday. But then there are members who pledge, they give money,
Sure.
and you never see them.
Sure. Now, is it true? The rumor is
Uh-oh.
that you know every single member. Have you gone up to everybody and welcomed them and greeted them and said, let me know who you are? Because I heard that was the truth.
I have this strange knack for remembering names. And so when I distribute communion, I will say, Rod, the body of Christ, Joe, the body of Christ, Glenn, and so they're all kind of, it takes a couple of visits.
Yeah.
And then there's thrilled. I mean, it's a thing, it's important.
That is a thing.
People feel seen, So,
Yes.
yeah.
Now, before we get into all the community things that St. Luke's Episcopal Church and you do, I was Googling you.
Uh-oh.
And something stuck out, and I said, oh my gosh, she's my new best friend. You have a thing for pop culture.
Yeah.
I do too. Who should we talk about?
I think we're going to have you on our podcast.
Who do we talk about here? Who's your favorite pop culture person right now? Who you just like to keep tabs on?
Oh gosh, that's actually a hard question, oddly enough.
You're not going to say Travis and Taylor?
No,
No.
I'm not that
Oh.
sophisticated. I would, I guess, of course, I'll remember 10 people afterwards, but
Sure.
the person that springs to mind the most is someone I just used to know a lot more before. His name is Sufjan Stevens, and he's a singer.
Okay, now you're way beyond me now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's,
I'll look him up.
he's pretty established, but
Okay.
he's a great guy, and I might be even Episcopalian, but it turns out that he had an album called Illinois back in the 2005s or so. They've just made a musical out of it, and it's going to be on Broadway.
Whoa.
And so he has this whole kind of new thing going on.
Very cool.
And he's a good guy. He has beautiful music. He wrote some songs in the movie Call Me By Your Name, if you've heard of that.
I have, but you're much more sophisticated than I am.
I
I was hoping you'd say the Kardashians, but you didn't. So, okay. Okay, let's go on to all the community things you guys do. It is amazing. We had Joe Greiner in here recently for St. Luke's Food Pantry, which just made my heart almost burst with joy at what she does.
Yeah, she's a saint. I could not do her job. She has infinite patience with all of our unhoused neighbors. So the St. Luke's Food Pantry has been around for over 30 years. And so I cannot take any credit for that, except for, trying to be supportive when things come up. I want to I'm sure she talked about this, but in COVID, they were great. They still kept giving out, bagged lunches, and they do everything from, giving tents and sleeping bags and supplies and kerosene stuff, and
It's truly amazing.
but it's a community thing. I mean, St. Mary's, Catholic Church,
Yes,
Rotary, all this stuff.
yes, everybody's involved.
So that's great. And she probably told you about the housing, I mean, the hotel vouchers.
Yes.
I mean, it's...
And I'm so glad this was the year that I felt the town, well, it's actually 2023,
Yeah.
came out and said, yes, we have unhoused people here. We need to start looking after them and helping them. And I know she was a principal person behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole community effort. And I don't want to go on. She probably told you all of this, but
She did, but that's okay.
it's just interesting to me that they're not super transient. It's the same folks
Right.
who've been around for a long time. So it's like,
That
you
is
know,
the
this
big
is their
thing
home.
about our unhoused people in Los Gatos. They are residents. They don't have a number. They don't have a street address, but they feel they are residents. They didn't just come in last week to get warm or something. They're here. But what else? Tell me what else
Okay,
St. Luke's does.
well, one of the things we did, we started just a few years ago a scholarship named after one of our parishioners who died early on in COVID, not of COVID, Anne Louise Hayo. And what it is there's a school in East San Jose called Andrew Hill High School.
Know it well.
It's under-resourced, is my understanding. I don't know the area, but it's under-resourced.
It is.
And Anne Louise had a love of and an affinity for San Jose State. She was on the board of the chaplaincy program there, Canterbury Bridge, for many years as secretary. And so we thought, we'll name a scholarship in her honor. She loved education. We'll go to this high school, and every year we choose a graduating high school senior who's going to attend San Jose State. They have to apply and everything. And it's a $2,000 a year scholarship every year for 4 years.
That's great.
And our goal is to have 4 young folks at once. So we've just started, so we have 2, and we're going to add another this year and another. And so we
That's
kind of need to
great.
raise $8,000 a year.
Okay.
Which
Okay,
is,
we'll
you
get
know,
to that in a second.
It's doable.
Tell me a few other things that you love about your community work.
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest things, because we're so centrally located, is it's really been, again, prior to my time, a place, it's a home away from home for people who attend 12-step groups. We have 10 or so 12-step groups that meet there, and they will come to me frequently and say, this place is like my home, and anything you need, I want to help. And so it's amazing because I'll be in my office late some night, and sometimes they meet in the courtyard when it's nice weather and the little twinkly Christmas lights are out and such. And so I don't hear what they're saying, but you hear the community. You hear people clapping, and you hear people laughing, and you hear people, just having community. And I think if we can be a space for that, that's wonderful.
Sharing life, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Also, I participate in our Los Gatos Interfaith clergy group,
Okay.
which is terrific.
Yes,
I love
very
the
active.
people.
I know that.
Yes, we have a Thanksgiving service every year, and we do other things.
Yeah.
And this is like where my mind draws a blank because I know we do so many other things.
I know you'll be driving back to St. Luke's and say, "Oh, I wanted to
about
mention
this?
that, but that's okay."
So the other thing I think I will mention is October 4th is the feast of the commemoration of St. Francis. And his big thing that people know about is he loved animals. And so we do a blessing of the animals the Sunday closest to October 4th every year. And just this last year, we decided to take up kind of a collection for some rescue shelter places. So we had 2 services, and the dogs came and got blessed. It was
I love
fun.
it.
It was in the courtyard, and that brings people who don't normally come to church. And we gave money. We raised $1,000 for each organization, and that's the sort of thing I think that it's important. Whatever our faith is or non-faith, I think doing things that create community. I mean, obviously it helps us, but it helps other people, and it knits. It's such a world, right? It's such a world that needs it.
We're such a small community,
Right.
and it's so easy to get involved. And you are showing us the way at St. Luke's. You really are. It's such a welcoming place. Whenever I walk by it, I look at the signs that are up. It's just a beautiful church. The grounds are amazing. What can we do for you? You mentioned the scholarship. You have a website. Maybe people want to, go Spartans. I'm an alum.
All right. I hit you up. So we have a little short fundraising season every year because we don't want to, scare people all the time. So late April, early May is very soon. And we're basically fundraising for this scholarship. I think you can even go to our website, www.stlukes.lg.org. STLUKESLG.org.
You got it.
And go to the donate button. And I think there's even a scholarship deal, because our goal is to raise enough money over time that we don't have to keep asking for it, because it'll be self-sustaining.
And what else? Anything? What do we miss? Please.
Yes, this is the big one. This is not a proselytizing thing, but come to church. It's kind of fun. You don't have to. Our tagline is, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And we really try to live into that. So we have this wonderful choir. It's like 22 members, and they sing gloriously, and we have fun. And if I made you laugh at all at Jack's service, I mean, my announcements are like stand-up comedy, and they go on for like 9 minutes. And because there's a lot to talk about. And I think that enlivens people. You come to church, you hear beautiful music, you sit in silence, you listen to the scripture readings. I mean, it shouldn't be that scary. We have this wall that kind of separates the parking lot. It was built in the 70s, and I suspect it was a way to kind of keep the world out.
Yeah.
But now we want to do the opposite.
You want the world to come in.
Just come in. Try one service. You get a welcome bag. So if nothing else, you get a little token for Los Gatos Coffee Company.
Oh, my
and a
goodness.
Water bottle and other little things.
All right. And when you're not at St. Luke's, I know you live on the peninsula, but I know you love Los Gatos. Where do you like to hang out?
I never get to hang out here.
Well, okay, then we're setting up a date.
Well, no. Okay, I will tell you this. That Los Gatos Cafe on Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Ridiculous. And I speak Spanish, so a lot of the people who work there, they know me. And
yes.
I had to kind of come out as an Episcopal priest, because they thought I was Catholic the whole time, and I think that shook them a little. But
and you get a cinnamon roll?
I'm never there on Saturdays, but I've had the cinnamon roll.
All right.
It's glorious.
You really are a delight. I am so glad I got to sit down with you and get to know you a little better. What do I tell you? Community storytelling is about people doing good things, and I don't think there's anybody better than this guy right here, the Reverend Ricardo Avila at St. Luke's Episcopal Church. Know somebody like him I should be talking to next? Go online, KCAT.org, and do a nomination for me. And as always, thank you so much for being with us. We so appreciate having you here at Community Storytelling at KCAT TV 15. I'm Lissa Chrysler. Until next time.